Have you ever felt like you're running a marathon on a treadmill? You're moving fast, your heart is pounding, but you aren't actually getting anywhere. Welcome to the modern trap of busyness. We've been told that to achieve more, we have to do more, but that's a lie that leads straight to a dead end. Today, we're going to flip the script and explore how you can become 10 times more productive while actually working less. It sounds like a dream, but it's a science, and it starts right here at your desk.
Look at this chaos. This was my life just a few months ago. Constant notifications, 50 open tabs, and a to-do list that seemed to grow every time I looked at it. I was working 14-hour days, fueled by cold coffee and the sheer fear of falling behind. But the harder I worked, the less I actually accomplished. My creativity was gone, and my energy was at an all-time low. I was a shell of a professional, just reacting to the loudest noise in my inbox.
The breaking point came on a Tuesday night. I found myself staring at a blank document for 3 hours, unable to write a single coherent sentence. That's when I realized that hard work is a diminishing return if you don't have a system. Productivity isn't about time management, it's about energy management. If you are constantly drained, no amount of hacks will save you. You have to stop fighting the clock and start understanding your own biology. I decided to conduct an experiment. I stopped the grind and started studying the world's most effective people. I'm talking about the CEOs, the elite athletes, and the master creators who seem to have more hours in the day than the rest of us. What I found wasn't a secret formula, but a radical shift in perspective. They don't do more, they do better. They focus on the vital few and ruthlessly eliminate the trivial many. This is the 80-20 rule on steroids.
The first step was the hardest. I had to admit that most of what I was doing didn't matter. All those urgent emails, mostly noise. Those hour-long meetings could have been a 5-minute memo. I started tracking my time and realized I was spending 80% of my day on tasks that only produced 20% of my results. It was a wake-up call. I was busy being busy, which is the ultimate form of laziness because it prevents you from doing the hard, deep work that actually moves the needle.
Then the conflict began. My brain screamed at me to check my phone. The itch to refresh my email was almost physical. We are addicted to the dopamine hit of small wins. Clearing a notification feels like progress, even if it's just a distraction. To become 10x more productive, you have to survive the withdrawal of constant connectivity. You have to build a fortress around your focus. If you can't control your attention, you can't control your life.
I introduced the concept of deep work. This is a state of distraction-free concentration when your brain is pushed to its limit. I started with just 90 minutes a day. No phone, no internet, no interruptions. Just me and the one task that mattered most. At first, it was agonizing. My mind wandered every 2 minutes. But I stayed in the chair. I forced myself to be bored until the brilliance arrived. And eventually, it did. The results were shocking. In those 90 minutes of deep focus, I was producing more than I used to in an entire 8-hour day. My quality improved, my stress levels plummeted, and for the first time in years, I felt a sense of mastery. This is the 10x secret: intensity of focus over duration of time. By condensing your work into high-impact bursts, you free up the rest of your day for actual living. You aren't just a worker, you are a human being.
But productivity isn't just about what you do at your desk. To avoid burnout, you have to master the art of the recharge. I realized that my brain is like a muscle. It needs rest to grow. I stopped working through lunch and started taking long walks without my phone. I rediscovered the power of silence. When you allow your mind to wander, that's when the best ideas are born. Your subconscious is a powerful engine, but it only runs when you step off the gas.
I also had to change my relationship with no. We are often afraid to say no because we want to be helpful or seen as hardworking. But every time you say yes to something trivial, you are saying no to your most important goals. I started declining meetings that didn't have a clear agenda. I stopped responding to non-urgent messages instantly. By setting boundaries, I gained respect, not just from others, but from myself. I was finally taking my time seriously.
The climax of this journey wasn't a big promotion
promotion or a massive paycheck. So those things followed. The real climax was the feeling of total control. I remember finishing my entire week's worth of critical tasks by Thursday noon. I sat back in my chair, and for the first time, there was no guilt. No nagging voice in my head saying I should be doing more. And
change in your identity. You have to stop as a hustler and start identifying as an essentialist. A hustler prides themselves on how many hours they log, and essentialist prides themselves on the impact they create. One is a marathon of exhaustion. The other is a series of focused sprints. When you value your output over your effort, everything changes. You start looking for leverage, not just labor.
let's talk about your environment. Your space dictates your pace. If your desk is a mess, your mind will be a mess. I simplified my workspace until only the essentials remained. I optimized my digital environment too, turning off all non-human notifications. If it's not a person calling me, I don't need to know about it until I decide to check. By minimizing the friction in my environment, I made it easier to do the right things and harder to do the wrong ones. The resolution to this story is simple but profound. You are not a machine. Machines are designed for constant output. Humans are designed for rhythmic performance. We are built to oscillate between high intensity and deep recovery. By respecting these natural cycles, you don't just work faster, you work better. You become more creative, more patient, and significantly more effective. This is how you sustain 10x productivity for a lifetime. You sustain 10x productivity for a lifetime, not just for a week. As I implemented these changes, my life began to expand. I had time for the gym,